Welcome into Seattle Seahawks today. I am Tom Downey. Today's video is a look at the reported combine meetings for Seattle. Now, before we break down the list, first up, this is far from the full list. There are a ton of unofficial meetings and a pretty good amount of the official meetings as well. So, just because you see a player on this list does not mean the Seahawks will draft him. And even if you don't see your player on here, well, there's still a good chance they actually met with him at the combine. First up is Malik Willis, the quarterback from Liberty. Before big media goes, see, they're trading Russ. First off, stop it. I am old enough to remember when the Seahawks at the Combine said we're not trading Russell Wilson, and Mike Florio said, that means they want a trade offer for Russell Wilson. Oh, wait, that was like 3 days ago. Willis said he met with everybody, every team. So all the lists you'll see Malik Willis on there for. That doesn't mean Russell Wilson is getting traded. Frankly, it's kind of a Bill Belichick thing to do, by the way. Meet with QBs, even if you don't need one, in case your division rival drafts one or a team you play drafts one. That way you got a better feel for that type of prospect. Some running backs now. Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M. Disappointed he did not run at the Combine. He is battling an injury. Meanwhile, Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker wowed in a big-time way. Spiller, will be there in round 2, maybe round 3 for Seattle if they want to go add another back at the running back position. Dameon Pierce out of Florida has had some hype as a potential top 5 guy despite a very, very small workload at Florida. Didn't test the way I think he was hoping for, was average to above average relative to his size. Still a good build. I think day 3 is where he should be drafted, and that could be a good name for Seattle to at least keep their eye out for. Now, whether it's round 2, round 3, or round 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, I want you to drop a name or names if you're feeling like being an overachiever that you want the Seahawks to draft this year. Head down to the comment section. Let me know who you want Seattle to take this season. This will be the pinned comment, by the way, on today's video. So if the ad break comes, well, go take advantage of it. While the ad plays, head down there and drop some names. Abram Smith is like the running back version of Nick Bellore out of Baylor. I think is an intriguing prospect Seattle met with. Could be a nice little pairing with a Rashad Penny back on a cheaper deal, hypothetically. Began his career as a running back at Baylor, moved to linebacker, was actually really good at linebacker, and now back to the running back side, didn't run the 40 either. I think another good day 3 option. Then there's Max Borghi, a very different style of runner than those earlier guys. He's going to be at his best, I'd argue, as a third down back. He thrived back in that air raid offense for Washington State. A little bit older of a prospect. Feels like he's been in college for a longer time, but if you want a third down guy, that is a good prospect to at least keep your eye out for in terms of other running backs. The likely first player drafted on this list was Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. Now, Burks, hyped as a potential wide receiver 1 this year, did not live up to the hype and the expectations relative to what people thought he could do this year. He was being hyped as, this guy's going to run like a 4.45 or whatever at receiver. He didn't. He ran a 4.55, which is not bad. Make no mistake about it. Even though he didn't live up to expectations, I don't see Burks being there in round 1. So I would bet all of my money this was an unofficial visit for Seattle. But when it comes to receiver, some buzz. Seattle might try to add another one, or at least get some more help there. Do you think that's a move Seattle should make? Type Y for yes or N for no. I like this potential move. Cade Otton out of Washington. Now, his numbers do not wow you. 28 catches, 250 yards, 1 touchdown. Injured, wasn't able to run at the Combine. I think he probably goes like, late round 3, early round 4. I think there's some sleeper upside here. I like him a little bit more than I liked Will Dissly when he also came out of Washington. That Huskies offense was, well, you Huskies fans know, a disaster. It was terrible. And Otton was their best player, and they could not get him the football, which is a failure of the coaching staff. Maybe reason why, as great of a defensive mind Jimmy Lake was, his tenure is done with the Huskies. I think Otton on day 2, or late day 2, early day 3, could be a sleeper pick for somebody, including Seattle. Abraham Lucas, next up here, the Washington State offensive tackle, and he had himself a pretty good showing at the Combine. Good size, 6'6", 315 arms, just under 34 inches, a 5-second flat 40-yard dash. There's a lot to like here as a potential day 2 pick for Seattle. I wouldn't be mad at it if Seattle made Lucas one of their first draft picks this year. A more just outside top 100 prospect is Rasheed Walker at Penn State. I think scouts can have a tough time getting over this. That Michigan game of Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, both of them were working both of the Penn State offensive linemen. That was probably one of his worst games. Walker's got good size. Didn't test the combine. It's a bit of a red flag for me given how fast everyone tested this year. But it's tough to find competent offensive linemen. You take him round 4, I'd be okay with that one for Seattle. It is almost St. Patrick's Day, and if you want gear on sale for 25% off, head over to chatsports.com/Seahawks Green. It's a good type of gear to buy for Seattle because the color scheme, it works really well, right? I mean, you got the green, so it kind of checks out from that perspective. Check the comment section and the description. I'll put that link in there for you guys. Chatsports.com/Seahawks Green. Got men's and women's gear, tons of styles and variety. I'd say several colors, but there's just the green. Chatsports.com/Seahawks Green. Big thanks to our friends over at Fanatics. All right, more combine interviews. Defensive time. Now, again, it's a shorter list than most years. Blame the media who left early. Perrion Winfrey out of Oklahoma. I tested a little bit. Producer Sam's a big fan, even though he's a homer. It's fine. Winfrey will put up better production in the NFL than he did at college because the schemes will fit better. This is a 3 technique role. Your pass rushing defensive tackle. Even as Seattle moves to a 3-4 scheme, there is still room for that type of defensive lineman. In general, depending on what exact front they use, you'll have a 0 or a 1 tech at nose guard, a 3-ish tech at the other defensive tackle spot, and a 5 tech at the other edge. You'll be able to use all those guys for your new front. Winfrey would bring you a more pass rushing option along the defensive line. With Al Woods a free agent, Travis Jones intrigues me. Do you want a big run stopper? This is a valid option who brings you some pass rushing value as well. Now, Jones, had it not been for Jordan Davis, he would have been getting hyped as maybe the best of all the defensive tackles this year at the Combine. 325, a 4.92 40-yard dash. Jordan Davis is going to go round 1. But can't get him in round 2. Maybe Travis Jones is a nice alternative. The other defensive linemen, I think there are 3 archetypes here. Remember, we got the 3 tech and Winfrey, the nose guard and Jones. This is more of your Michael Bennett type of defensive lineman, Logan Hall. Some view him as an edge rusher, some as a defensive tackle. I think a 5 technique and a 3-4 scheme is what Logan Hall would likely be doing, which Perrion Winfrey would also be able to play. A little bit lighter, though, than Winfrey, 283 at 6'6", so tall, skinny a little bit, but good 40 times as well. 4.88 is a pretty damn good time for a guy. 283 and good agility numbers as well. So Logan Hall fits that back end round 1, early round 2 range. If you had to pick one of these defensive linemen, not saying you do, but hypothetically, who would you rather have on your roster? PW for Perrion Winfrey, TJ for Travis Jones, LH for Logan Hall. The edge rusher, 2 of them Seattle met with. There's a theme, by the way. Arnold Ebiketie out of Penn State. Did not test at the 40, but had some good jumps, good explosion. 9.5 sacks, 18 tackles for loss. I believe he fits that 3-4 outside linebacker scheme, and Seattle is in the market for one of those guys this offseason. Speaking of the offseason, if you want free updates every single day on the news, the rumors, etc., hit that big red button and subscribe. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. We here at Chat Sports have you guys covered with everything going on around the Seahawks this offseason. D'Angelo Malone. Now, this is a 3-4 edge rusher out of Western Kentucky. He's not that big. He was listed at 6'4", 240. I believe we checked in at a similar size. This is your speed rusher. This is your probably third down, pass rush specialist, or your designated pass rush, a DPR role teams like to use. That is Malone's fit in the NFL. I'd say late day 2, more likely early day 3 for Malone to go off the board, but who knows? Teams sometimes reach on these types of bendy athletic edges. good name to keep an eye out for in Seattle if they can't find a better edge rusher in free agency. Darrian Beavers out of Cincinnati. No 40 time, but some good explosion numbers for him. Much was made of Leo Chenal and his awesome testing out of Wisconsin. Beavers fills a similar mold. This is your throwback linebacker. 6'4", 255. He can stop the run. He can blitz. He's at his best going north-south. I'm intrigued by him, but only if Bobby Wagner doesn't return, because I don't think he gets to you in round 4, where I'd be okay looking for more of a backup linebacker. And remember to keep Bobby Wagner. One corner that we know of, Caleb Evans, had an okay 40-yard dash time, but he's got some good size and some good length out of Missouri. I would hope Seattle looks at more corners, especially, or really if they don't retain Sidney Jones and especially DJ Reed. So we'll see on that front, but that is your known combine interview list for Seattle.